A Raisin in the Sun, Act 1, Scene 1. The younger living room would be a comfortable and well-ordered room if it were not for a number of indestructible contradictions to this state of being. Its furnishings are typical and undistinguished, and their primary feature now is that they have clearly had to accommodate the living of too many people for too many years, and they are tired. Still, we can see that at some time, a time probably no longer remembered by the family, except perhaps for Mama, the furnishings of the room were actually selected with care and love and even hope, and brought to this apartment and arranged with taste and pride. That was a long time ago. Now the once-loved pattern of the couch upholstery has to fight to show itself from under acres of crocheted dollies and couch covers, which have themselves finally come to be more important than the upholstery. And here a table or a chair has been moved to disguise the worn place in the carpet. But the carpet has fought back by showing its weariness, with depressing uniformity elsewhere on its surface. Weariness has, in fact, won in this room. Everything has been polished, washed, sat on, used, scrubbed too often. All pretenses but living itself has long since vanished from the very atmosphere of this room. Moreover, a section of this room, for it is not really a room unto itself, though the landlord's lease would make it seem so, slopes backward to provide a small kitchen area, where the family prepares the meals that are eaten in the living room proper, which must also serve as dining room. The single window that has been provided for these two rooms is located in this kitchen area. The sole nature light the family may enjoy in the course of a day is only that which fights its way through this little window. At left, a door leads to a bathroom which is shared by Mama and her daughter Beneatha. At right, opposite is a second room, which is the beginning of the life of this apartment, was probably a breakfast room, which serves as a bedroom for Walter and his wife Ruth. Time: sometime between World War II and the present. Place: Chicago's South Side. At rise: it is morning dark in the living room. Travis is asleep on the make-down bed at center. An alarm clock sounds from within the bedroom at right, and presently Ruth enters from that room and closes the door behind her. She crosses sleepily toward the window. As she passes her sleeping son, she reaches down and shakes him a little. At the window, she raises the shade, and a dusty Southside morning light comes in feebly. She fills a pot with water and puts it on to boil. She calls to the boy between yawns and in a slightly muffled voice. Ruth is about 30. We can see that she was a pretty girl, even exceptionally so, but now it is apparent that life has been little that she expected, and disappointment has already begun to hang in her face. In a few years, before 35 even, she will be known among her people as a settled woman. She crosses to her son and gives him a good, final, rousing shake. Ruth: come on now, boy. It's 7:30. Her son sits up at last, in a stupor of sleepiness. I say hurry up, Travis. You ain't the only person in the world got to use a bathroom. The child, a sturdy, handsome little boy of 10 or 11, drags himself out of the bed and almost blindly takes his towel and today's clothes from drawers and a closet and goes out to the bathroom, which is in an outside hall and which is shared by another family or families on the same floor. Ruth crosses to the bedroom door at right and opens it and calls it in to her husband. Walter Lee: it's after 7:30. Let me see you do some waking up in there now. She waits. You better get up from there, man. It's after 7:30, I tell you. She waits again. All right, you just go ahead and lay there, and next thing you know, Travis will be finished and Mr. Johnson will be in there, and you'll be fussing and cussing around here like a madman. And be late, too. She waits at the end of patience. Walter Lee, it's time for you to get up. She waits another second and then starts to go into the bedroom, but is apparently satisfied that her husband has begun to get up. She stops, pulls to the door, and returns to the kitchen area. She wipes her face with a moist cloth and runs her fingers through her sleep-disheveled hair in a vain effort, and ties an apron around her housecoat. The bedroom door at right opens and her husband stands in the doorway in his pajamas, which are rumpled and mismatched. He is a lean, intense young man in his middle 30s, inclined to quick, nervous moments and erratic speech habits, and always in his voice there is a quality of indictment. Walter, is he out yet? Ruth, what do you mean out? He ain't hardly got in there good yet. Walter, wandering in, still more oriented to sleep than to a new day. Well, what was you doing all that yelling for if I can't even get in there yet? Stopping and thinking. Check coming today? Ruth, they said Saturday, and this is just Friday, and I hopes to God you ain't going to get up there first thing this morning and start talking me about no money, 'cause I about don't want to hear it. Walter, something the matter with you this morning? Ruth, no, I'm just sleepy as the devil. What kind of eggs do you want? Walter, not scrambled. Ruth starts to scramble eggs. Paper come? Ruth points impatiently to the rolled up Tribune on the table, and he gets it and spreads it out and vaguely reads the front page. Set off another bomb yesterday. Ruth, maximum indifference. Did they? Walter, looking up. What's the matter with you? Ruth, ain't nothing the matter with me, and don't keep asking me what that this morning. Walter, ain't nobody bothering you? Reading the news of the day absently again. Say Colonel McCormick is sick. Ruth, affecting Tea Party interest. Is he now? Poor thing. Walter, sighing and looking at his watch. Oh, me. He waits. Now what is that boy doing in the bathroom all this time? He's just going to have to start getting up earlier. I can't be being late to work on account of him fooling around in there. Ruth, turning on him. Oh, no, he ain't going to getting up no earlier, no such thing. It ain't his fault that he can't get out of bed no earlier nights, 'cause he got a bunch of crazy good-for-nothing clowns sitting up running their mouths in what is supposed to be his bedroom after 10 o'clock at night. Walter, that's what you mad about, ain't it? The thing I want to talk about with my friends just couldn't be important in your mind, could they? He rises and finds a cigarette in his handbag and on the table and crosses to the little window and looks out, smoking and deeply enjoying this first one. Ruth, almost matter-of-factly, a complaint too automatic to deserve emphasis. Why you always got to smoke before you eat in the morning? Walter, at the window, just look at him down there, running and racing to work. He turns and faces his wife, watches her a moment at the stove, and then suddenly, you look young this morning, baby. Ruth, indifferently. Yeah? Walter, just for a second, stirring them eggs. Just for a second, it was. You look real young again. He reaches for her. She crosses away. Then, dryly, it's gone now. You look like yourself again. Ruth, man, if you don't shut up and leave me alone. Walter, looking to the street again. First thing a man ought to learn in life is not to make love to no colored woman first thing in the morning. You all some evil people at 8 o'clock in the morning. Travis appears in the hall doorway, almost fully dressed and quite wide awake now, his towels and pajamas across his shoulder. He opens the door and signals for his father to make the bathroom in a hurry. Travis, washing the bathroom. Daddy, come on. Walter gets his bathroom utensils and flies out to the bathroom. Ruth, sit down and have your breakfast, Travis. Travis, Mama, this Friday? Gleefully, check coming tomorrow, huh? Ruth, you get your mind off money and eat your breakfast. Travis, eating. This is the morning we supposed to bring the 50 cents to school. Ruth, well, I ain't got no 50 cents this morning. Travis, teacher says we have to. Ruth, I don't care what teacher says. I ain't got it. Eat your breakfast, Travis. Travis, I am eating. Ruth, hush up now and just eat. The boy gives her an exasperated look for her lack of understanding and eats grudgingly. Travis, you think Grandma would have it? Ruth, no, and I want you to stop asking your grandmother for money, you hear me? Travis, outraged. Gail, I don't ask her. She just give me it sometimes. Ruth, Travis Willward Younger. I got too much on me this morning to be Travis. Maybe Daddy. Ruth, Travis. The boy hushes abruptly. They are both quiet and tense for several seconds. Travis, presently. Could I maybe go carry some groceries in front of the supermarket for a little while after school then? Ruth, just hush, I said. Travis jabs his spoon into his cereal bowl viciously and rests his head in anger upon his fist. If you're through eating, you can get over there and make up your bed. The boy obeys stiffly and crosses the room, almost mechanically, to the bed and more or less folds the bedding into a heap, then angrily gets his books and cap. Travis, sulking and standing apart from his unnaturally. I'm gone. Ruth, looking up from the stove to inspect him automatically. Come here. He crosses to her, and she studies his head. If you don't take this comb and fix this head, you better. What? Travis puts down his books with a great sigh of oppression and crosses to the mirror. His mother mutters under her breath about his stubbornness, about to march out of here with that head looking like chicken stuffed in it. I just don't know where you get your stubborn ways. And get your jacket too. Looks chilly out this morning. Travis, with conspicuously brushed hair and jacket. I'm gone. Ruth, get carfare and milk money. Waving one finger, and not a single penny for no caps, you hear me? Travis, with sullen politeness. Yes. He turns in outrage to leave. His mother watches after him in his frustration. He approaches the door almost comically. When she speaks to him, her voice has become a very gentle tease. Ruth, mocking, as she thinks he would say it, Oh, Mama makes me so mad sometimes. I don't know what to do. She waits and continues to his back as he stands stock still in front of the door. I wouldn't kiss that woman goodbye for nothing in this world this morning. The boy finally turns around and rolls his eyes at her, knowing the mood has changed and he is vindicated. He does not, however, move toward her yet. Not for nothing in this world. She finally laughs aloud at him and holds out her arms to him, and we see that it is a way between them, very old and practiced. He crosses to her and allows her to embrace him warmly, but keeps his face fixed with masculine rigidity. She holds him back from her presently and looks at him and runs her fingers over the features of his face with utter gentleness. Now, whose little old angry man are you? Travis, the masculinity and gruffness starts to fade at last. Ah, golly, Mama. Ruth mimicking, Ah, golly, Mama. She pushes him with rough playfulness and finality toward the door. Get on out of here or you're going to be late. Travis, in the face of love, new aggressiveness. Mama, can I please go carry groceries? Ruth, honey, it's starting to get so cold evenings. Walter, coming in from the bathroom and drawing a make-believe gun from a make-believe holster and shooting at his son. What is it he wants to do? Ruth, go carry groceries after school at the supermarket. Walter, well, let him go. Travis, quickly to the alley. I have to. She won't give me the 50 cents. Walter, to his wife only. Why not? Ruth, simply and with flavor. 'Cause we don't have it. Walter, to Ruth only. What you tell the boy things like that for? Reaching down into his pants with a rather important gesture. Here, son. He hands the boy the coin, but his eyes are directed to his wife. Travis takes the money happily. Travis. Thanks, Daddy. He starts out. Ruth watches both of them with murder in her eyes. Walter stands and stares back at her with defiance, and suddenly reaches into his pocket again on an afterthought. Walter, without even looking at his son, still staring hard at his wife. In fact, here's another 50 cents. Buy yourself some fruit today, or take a taxi cab to school or something. Travis, whoopee. He leaps up and clasps his father around the middle with his legs, and they face each other in mutual appreciation. Slowly, Walter Lee peeks around the boy and to watch the violent rays from his wife's eyes and draws his head back as if shot. Walter, you better get down now and get to school, man. Travis at the door. Okay, goodbye. He exits. Walter, after him, pointing with pride. That's my boy. She looks at him in disgust and turns back to her work. You know what I was thinking about the bathroom this morning? Ruth, no. Walter, how come you always try to be so pleasant? Ruth, what is there to be pleasant about? Walter, you want to know what I was thinking about in the bathroom or not? Ruth, I know what you were thinking about. Walter, ignoring her. About what me and Willie Harris was talking about last night. Ruth, immediately a refrain. Willie Harris is a good-for-nothing loudmouth. Walter, anybody who talks to me has got to be a good-for-nothing loudmouth, ain't he? And what you know about who is just a good-for-nothing loudmouth? Charlie Atkins was just a good-for-nothing loudmouth too, wasn't he? And he wanted me to go in the dry cleaning business with him. And now he's grossing $100,000 a year. $100,000 a year. You still call him a loudmouth? Ruth bitterly. Oh, Walter Lee. She folds her head on her arms over the table. Walter, rising and coming to her and standing over her. You tired, aren't you? Tired of everything. Me, the boy, the way we live, this beat-up hole, everything, ain't you? She doesn't look up, doesn't answer. So tired, moaning and groaning all the time, but you wouldn't do nothing to help, would you? You couldn't be on my side that long for nothing, could you? Ruth, Walter, please leave me alone. Walter, a man needs nothing for a woman to back him up. Ruth, Walter, Mama would listen to you. You know she listened to you more than she do to me and Beanie. She think more of you. All you have to do is just sit down with her when you drinking your coffee one morning and talking about things like you do. And he sits down beside her and demonstrates geographically what he thinks her methods and tone should be. You just sip your coffee, see, and say easily like that you been thinking about that deal Walter Lee is so interested in, about the store and all, and sip more coffee, like what you saying ain't really important to you. And the next thing you know, she'll be listening good and asking you questions, and when I come home, I can tell her the details. This ain't no fly-by-night position, baby. I mean, we figured it out, me and Willie and Bobo. Ruth, with a frown. Bobo? Walter. Yeah, you see, this little liquor store we got in mine cost $75,000, and we figured the initial investment on the place be about $30,000, see? That be $10,000 each. Of course, there's a couple of hundred you got to pay, so you don't spend your life just waiting for them clowns to let your license get approved. Ruth, you mean graft? Walter, frowning impatiently. Don't call it that. See there? That just goes to show you what women understand about the world. Baby, don't nothing happen for you in this world less you pay somebody off. Ruth, Walter, leave me alone. She raises her head and stares at him vigorously, then says more quietly, Eat your eggs. They gonna be cold. Walter, straightening up from her and looking off. That's it. There you are. Man says to his woman, I got me a dream. His woman says, Eat your eggs. Sadly, but gaining in power, man say, I got to take hold of this here world, baby, and a woman will say, Eat your eggs and go to work. Passionately now, man say, I got to change my life. I'm choking to death, baby. And his woman say, in utter anguish, as he brings his fist down on his thighs, Your eggs is getting cold. Ruth softly, Walter, that ain't none of our money. Walter, not listening at all or even looking at her. This morning, I was looking in the mirror and thinking about it. I'm 35 years old. I've been married 11 years, and I got a boy who sleeps in the living room, very, very quietly. And all I got to give him is stories about how rich white people live. Ruth, eat your eggs, Walter. Walter slams the table and jumps up. My eggs, all the eggs that ever was. Ruth, then go to work. Walter, looking up at her. See, I'm trying to talk to you about myself, shaking his head with the repetition, and all you can say is eat them eggs and go to work. Ruth wearily. Honey, you never say nothing new. I listen to you every day, every night, and every morning, and you never say nothing new. Shrugging. So you would rather be Mr. Arnold than be his chauffeur. So I would rather be living in Buckingham Palace. Walter, that is just what is wrong with the colored women in this world. Don't understand about building their men up and making them feel like they're somebody, like they can do something. Ruth, drily but to hurt. They are colored men who do things, Walter. No thanks to the colored woman. Ruth, well, being a colored woman, I guess I can't help myself none. She rises and gets the ironing board and sets it up and attaches a huge pile of rough dried clothes, sprinkling them in preparation for the ironing and then rolling them into tight fat balls. Walter, mumbling. We one group of men tied to a race of women with small minds. His sister Benethia enters. She is about 30, as slim and intense as her brother. She is not as pretty as her sister-in-law, but her lean, almost intellectual face has a handsomeness of its own. She wears a bright red flannel night tie, and her thick hair stands wildly about her head. Her speech is a mixture of many things. It is different from the rest of the families insofar as education has permeated her sense of English, and perhaps the mild West rather than the South has finally at last won out in her inflection, but not altogether, because over all of it is a soft slurring and transformed use of vowels, which is the decided influence of the South Side. She passes through the room without looking at either Ruth or Walter, and goes to the outside door and looks a little blindly out to the bathroom. She sees that it has been lost to the Johnsons. She closes the door with a sleepy vengeance and crosses to the table and sits down a little defeated. Beneatha. I'm going to start timing those people, Walter. You should get up earlier. Beneatha, her face in her hands, she is still fighting the urge to go back to bed. Really? Would you suggest dawn? Where's the paper? Walter, pushing the paper across the table to her, as he studies her almost clinically, as though he has never seen her before. You a horrible-looking chick at this hour. Beneatha, drily. Good morning, everybody. Walter, senselessly. How is school coming? Beneatha, in the same spirit. Lovely, lovely, and you know, biology is the greatest. Looking up at him. I dissected something that looked just like you yesterday. Walter, I just wondered if you've made up your mind and everything. Beneatha, gaining in sharpness and impatience. And what did I answer yesterday morning and the day before that? Ruth from the ironing board, like someone disinterested and old. Don't be so nasty, Benny. Beneatha, still to her brother. And the day before that. Walter, defensively. I'm interested in you. Something wrong with that? Ain't many girls who decide, Walter and Beneatha in unison, to be a doctor. Silence. Walter, have we figured out yet just exactly how much medical school is going to cost? Ruth, Walter, leave. Why don't you leave that girl alone and get out of here to work? Beneatha exits to the bathroom and bangs on the door. Come on out of there, please. She comes back into the room. Walter, looking at his sister intently. You know the check is coming tomorrow. Beneatha, turning on him with a sharpness of all her own. That money belongs to Mama, Walter, and it's for her to decide how she wants to use it. I don't care if she wants to buy a house or a rocket ship or just nail it up somewhere and look at it. It's hers, not ours, hers. Walter bitterly. Now ain't that fine? You just got your mother's interest at heart, ain't you, girl? You're such a nice girl, but if Mama got that money, she can always take a few $1,000s and help you through school, too, can't she? Beneatha, I have never asked anyone around here to do anything for me. Walter, no. And the line between asking and just accepting when the time comes is big and wide, ain't it? Beneatha, with fury. What do you want from me? Brother, that I quit school or just drop dead, which? Walter, I don't want nothing from you for you to stop acting holy around here. Me and Ruth done made some sacrifices for you, and why can't you do something for the family? Ruth. Walter, don't be dragging me in it. Walter, you are in it. Don't you get up and go to work in somebody's kitchen for the last 3 years to help put clothes on her back? Ruth. Oh, Walter, that's not fair. Walter. It ain't that nobody expects you to get on your knees and say thank you, brother. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, Mama. And thank you, Travis, for wearing the same pair of shoes for 2 semesters. Benita, dropping to her knees. Well, I do. Do all right? Thank everybody. And forgive me for ever wanting to be anything at all. Pursuing him on her knees across the floor. Forgive me, forgive me, forgive me. Ruth, please stop it. Your mom will hear you. Walter, who the told you you had to be a doctor? If you so crazy about messing around with sick people, then go to be a nurse like other women, or just get married and be quiet. Benita, well, you finally got it said. It took you 3 years, but you finally got it said. Walter, give up. Leave me alone. It's Mama's money. Walter, he was my father too. Benita, so what? He was mine too, and Travis' grandfather. But the insurance money belongs to Mama. Picking on me is not going to make her give it to you to invest in any liquor stores. Under breath, dropping into a chair. And I for one say, God bless Mama for that. Walter to Ruth. See, did you hear that? Did you hear? Ruth. Honey, please go to work. Walter. Nobody in this house is ever going to understand me. Benita. Because you're a nut. Walter. Who's a nut? Benita. You. You are a nut. Thee is mad, boy. Walter, looking at his wife and his sister from the door very sadly. The world's most backward race of people, and that's a fact. Benita, turning slowly in her chair. And then there are all those prophets who would lead us out of the wilderness. Walter slams out of the house into the swamps. Ruth, Benny, why you always gotta be picking on your brother? Can't you be a little sweeter sometimes? Door opens. Walter walks in. He fumbles with his cap, starts to speak, clears throat, looks everywhere but at Ruth. Finally, Walter to Ruth. I need some money for car fare. Ruth looks at him, then warns, teasing but tenderly. 50 cents? She goes to her bag and gets money. Here, take a taxi. Walter exits. Mama enters. She is a woman in her early 60s, full-bodied and strong. She is one of those women of a certain grace and beauty who wear it so unobtrusively that it takes a while to notice. Her dark brown face is surrounded by the total whiteness of her hair, and being a woman who has adjusted to many things in life and overcome many more, her face is full of strength. She has, we can see, wit and faith of a kind that keep her eyes lit and full of interest and expectancy. She is, in a word, a beautiful woman. Her bearing is perhaps more like the noble bearing of the woman of the heroes of Southwest Africa, rather as if she imagines that she walks, she still bears a basket or a vessel upon her head. Her speech, on the other hand, is as careless as her carriage is precise. She is inclined to slur everything, but her voice is perhaps not so much quiet as simply soft. Mama. Who that round here slamming doors at this hour? She crosses through the room, goes to the window, opens it, and brings in a feeble little plant growing doggedly in a small pot on the windowsill. She feels the dirt and puts it back out. Ruth. That was Walter Lee. He and Benny was at it again. Mama. My children and their tempers. Lord, if this little old plant don't get more sun than it's been getting, it ain't never going to see spring again. She turns from the window. What's the matter with you this morning, Ruth? You look right peaked. You aiming to iron all them things? Leave some for me. I'll get to 'em this afternoon. Benny, honey, it's too drafty for you to be sitting around half-dressed. Where's your robe? Benita. In the cleaners, Mama. Well, go get mine and put it on. Benita. I'm not cold, Mama, honest. Mama. I know, but you so thin. Benita, irritably. Mama, I'm not cold. Mama, seeing the make-down bed as Travis has left it. Lord have mercy, look at that poor bed. Bless his heart. He tries, don't he? She moves to the bed Travis has happily made up. Ruth, No, he don't half try at all, 'cause he knows you going to come along behind him and fix everything. That's just how come he don't know how to do nothing right now. You done spoiled that boy, so. Mama folding bedding. Well, he's a little boy, ain't supposed to know about housekeeping. My baby, that's what he is. What you fixed for breakfast this morning? Ruth angrily. I fed my son, Lena. Mama, I ain't meddling, under breath. Busy bodyish. I just noticed all week that he had cold cereal, and when it starts getting this chilly in the fall, a child ought to have some hot grits for something when he goes out in the cold. Ruth furious. I gave him some hot oats. Is that all right? Mama, I ain't meddling. Pause. Put a lot of nice butter on it. Ruth shouts her an angry look and does not reply. He likes lots of butter. Ruth exasperated. Lena. Mama to Benitha. Mama is inclined to wander conversationally sometimes. What was you and your brother fussing about this morning? Benitha. It's nothing important, Mama. She gets up and goes to look out in the bathroom, which is apparently free, and she picks up her towels and rushes out. Mama, what was they fighting about? Ruth. Now you know as well as I do. Mama shaking her head. Brother still worrying himself sick about that money? Ruth. You know he is. Mama, you had breakfast? Ruth. Some coffee. Mama. Girl, you better start eating and looking after yourself better. You almost thin as Travis. Ruth. Lena. Mama. Ruth. What are you going to do with it? Mama. Now don't you start, child. It's too early in the morning to be talking about money. It ain't Christian. Ruth. It's just that he got his heart set on that store. Mama. You mean that liquor store that Willie Harris want him to invest in? Ruth. Yes. Mama. We ain't no business people, Ruth. We just plain working folks. Ruth. Ain't nobody business people till they got into business. Walter Lee say colored people ain't never going to start getting ahead till they start gambling on some different kinds of things in the world, investments and things. Mama. What done got into you, girl? Walter Lee done finally sold you on investing. Ruth. No, Mama, something is happening between Walter and me. I don't know what it is, but he needs something, and something I can't give him anymore. He needs this chance, Lena. Mama frowning deeply. But liquor, honey? Ruth. Well, like Walter said, I suppose people going to always be drinking themselves some liquor. Mama. Well, whether they drinks it or not ain't none of my business. But whether I go into business selling it is. And I don't want any of my ledger this late in life. Stopping suddenly and studying her daughter-in-law, Ruth Younger. What's the matter with you today? You look like you could fall over right there. Ruth. I'm tired, Mama. Then you better stay home from work today. Ruth. I can't stay home. She'd be calling up the agency and screaming at them. My girl didn't come in today. Send me somebody. My girl didn't come in. Well, she just have a fit. Mama. Well, let her have it. I'll just call her up and say you got the flu. Ruth laughing. Why the flu? Mama. 'Cause it sounds so respectful to them. Something white people get, too. They know about the flu. Otherwise, they think you've been cut up or something when you tell them you're sick. Ruth. I got to go in. We need the money. Mama. Somebody would have thought my children done all but starved to death, the way they talk about money here late. Child, we got a great big old check coming tomorrow. Ruth. Sincerely, but also self-righteously. Now that's your money. It ain't got nothing to do with me. We all feel like that. Walter and Benny and me, even Travis. Mama thoughtfully and suddenly very far away. $10,000. Ruth. Sure is wonderful. Mama. $10,000. Ruth. You know what you should do, Miss Lena? You should take yourself a trip somewhere. To Europe or South Africa or someplace. Mama throwing up her hands at the thought. Oh, child. Ruth, I'm serious. Just pick up and leave. Go on away and enjoy yourself some. Forget about the family and have yourself a ball for once in your life. Mama drily. You sound like I'm just about ready to die. Who would go with me? What I look like wandering around Europe by myself. Ruth. Shoot, these here rich white women do it all the time. They don't think nothing of packing up the suitcases and piling on one of them big steamship And swoosh, they gone, child. Mama. Something always told me I wasn't no rich white woman. Ruth. Well, what are you going to do with it then? Mama. I ain't rightly decided. Thinking. She speaks now with emphasis. Some of it gotta be put away for Benitha and her schoolin', and ain't nothing going to touch that part of it. Nothin'. She waits several seconds trying to make up her mind about something and looks at Ruth a little attentively before going on. Been thinking that we maybe could meet the notes on a little old 2-story somewhere, with a yard where Travis could play in the summertime. If we use part of the insurance for a down payment and everybody kind of pitch it, I could maybe take on a little day work a few days a week. Ruth, studying her mother-in-law furtively and concentrating on her ironing, anxious to encourage without seeming to. Well, Lord knows we've put enough rent into here, rat trap, to pay for 4 houses by now. Mama, looking up at the words rat trap, and then looking around and leaning back and sighing in a suddenly reflective mood. Rat trap, yes, that's all it is. Smiling. I remember just as well the day me and Big Walter moved in here. Hadn't been married but 2 weeks and wasn't planning on living here no more than a year. She shakes her head at the dissolved dream. We was going to set away little by little, don't you know, and buy a little place out in Morgan Park. We had even pigs on the house. Chuckling a little. Looks right dumpy today, but Lord, child, you should know all the dreams I had about buying the house and fixing it up and making me a little garden in the back. She waits and stops smiling. And didn't none of it happen? Dropping her hands in a futile gesture. Ruth keeps her head down, ironing. Yes, life can be a barrel of disappointment sometimes. Mama. Honey, Big Walter would come in here some nights back then and slump down on that couch there and just look at that rug, and look at me, look at that rug, and then back at me. And I'd know he was down then, really down. After a second very long and thoughtful pause, she was seeing back to times that only she can see. And then, Lord, when I lost that baby little Claude, I almost thought I was going to lose Big Walter too. Oh, that man grieved himself. He was one man to love his children. Ruth, ain't nothing can tear at you like losing your baby. Mama, I guess that's how come that man finally worked himself to death like he done. Like he was fighting his own war with this here world that took his baby from him. Ruth, he sure was a fine man, all right. I always liked Mr. Younger. Mama, crazy about his children. God knows there was plenty wrong with Walter Younger. Hard-headed, mean, kind of wild with women, plenty wrong with him. But he sure loved his children. Always wanted them to have something, be something. That's where brother gets all these notions, I reckon. Big Walter used to say he'd get right wet in the eyes sometimes. Lean his head back with the water standing in his eyes and say, seemed like God didn't see fit to give the black man nothing but dreams, but he did give us children to make them dreams seem worthwhile. She smiles. He could talk like that, don't you know? Ruth. Yes, he sure could. He was a good man, Mr. Younger. Mama. Yes, a fine man. Just couldn't never catch up his dreams, that's all. Benitha comes in, brushing her hair and looking up to the ceiling where the sound of a vacuum cleaner has started up. Benitha. What could be so dirty on that woman's rug that she has to vacuum them every single day? Ruth. I wish certain young women round here who I could name and would take inspiration about certain rugs in a certain apartment I could also mention. Benitha shruggingly. How much cleaning can a house need, for Christ's sakes? Mama, not liking the Lord's name used thus. Benny. Ruth. Just listen to her. Just listen. Benitha. Oh, God. Mama, if you use the Lord's name just one more time. Benitha, a little bit of wine. Oh, Mama. Ruth. Fresh, just fresh as salt, this girl. Benitha drily. Well, if the salt loses its flavor, if the salt loses its savior. Mama, now that will do. I just ain't going to have you round here reciting the scriptures in vain, you hear me? Benitha. How did I manage to get on everybody's wrong side by just walking into a room? Ruth. If you weren't so fresh. Benitha. Ruth, I'm 20 years old. Mama. What time you be home from school today? Benitha. Kind of late. With enthusiasm. Madeline is going to start my guitar lessons today. Mama and Ruth look up at the same expression. Mama, your what kind of lessons? Benita, guitar. Ruth, oh, Father. Mama, how come you done taking it in your mind to learn to play the guitar? Benita, I just want to, that's all. Mama, smiling. Lord, child, don't you know what to do with yourself? How long is going to be before you get tired of this now? Like you got tired of that little playing acting group you joined last year. Looking at Ruth. And what was it the year before that? Ruth. The horseback riding club for which she brought that $55 riding habit that's been hanging in the closet ever since. Mama to Benita. Why you got to flit so from one thing to another, baby? Benita sharply. I just want to play the guitar. Is there anything wrong with that? Mama, ain't nobody trying to stop you. I just wonder sometime why you has to flit so from one thing to another all the time. You ain't never done nothing with all the camera equipment you brought home. Benita, I don't flit. I just experience different things, forms of expression. Ruth, like riding a horse? Benita, people have to express themselves one way or another. Mama, what is it you want to express? Benita angrily. Me. Mama and Ruth look at each other and burst into raucous laughter. Don't worry, I don't expect you to understand. Mama, to change the subject. Who you going out with tomorrow night? Benita with displeasure. George Murch's son again. Mama, please. Oh, you getting a little sweet on him? Ruth, you asked me. This child ain't sweet on nobody but himself. Under breath, express herself. They laugh. Benita, oh, I like George all right, Mama. I mean, I like him enough to go out with him and stuff, but Ruth, for devilment, what does and stuff mean? Benita, mind your own business. Mama, stop picking at her now, Ruth. She chuckles in a suspicious, sudden look at her daughter as she turns in her chair for emphasis. What does it mean? Benita wearily. Oh, I just mean I couldn't ever really be serious about George. He's so shallow. Ruth, shallow? What do you mean he's shallow? He's rich. Mama, hush, Ruth. Benita, I know he's rich. He knows he's rich too. Ruth, well, what other qualities a man got to have to satisfy you, little girl? Benita, you wouldn't even begin to understand. Anybody who married Walter could not possibly understand. Mama, outraged. What kind of way is that to talk about your brother? Benita, brothers is a flip. Let's face it. Mama, to Ruth helplessly. What's a flip? Ruth, glad to add kindly. She's saying he's crazy. Benita, not crazy. Brother isn't really crazy yet. He's an elaborate neurotic. Mama, hush your mouth. Benita, as for George, well, George looks good. He's got a beautiful car and he takes me to nice places. And as my sister-in-law says, he is probably the richest boy I will ever get to know. And I even like him sometimes, but if the youngers are sitting around waiting to see if their little Benny is going to tie up for the family with the Murchisons, they are wasting their time. Ruth, you mean you won't marry George Murchison if he asks you someday? That pretty rich thing? Honey, I knew you was odd. Benita, no, I would not marry him if all I felt for him was what I feel now. Besides, George's family wouldn't really like it. Mama, why not? Benita, oh, Mama, the Murchisons are honest to God, real live rich colored people, and the only people in the world who are more snobbish than rich white people are rich colored people. I thought everybody knew that. I've met Mrs. Murchison. She's a saint. Mama, you must not dislike people because they well off, honey. Benita, why not? It makes just as much sense as disliking people because they are poor, and lots of people do that. Ruth, a wisdom of the ages manner to Mama. Well, she'll get over some of this. Benita, get over it? What are you talking about, Ruth? Listen, I'm going to be a doctor. I'm not worried about who I'm going to marry yet, if I even get married. Mama and Ruth, if. Mama, now Benny. Benita, oh, I probably will, but first I'm going to be a doctor, and George, for one, still thinks that's pretty funny. I couldn't be bothered by that. With that, I'm going to be a doctor, and everybody around here better understand that. Mama, kindly. Course you going to be a doctor, honey, God willing. Benita, really. God doesn't got a thing to do with it. Mama, Benita, that just wasn't necessary. Benita, well, neither is God. I'm sick of hearing about God. Mama, Benita, I mean it. I'm just tired of hearing about God all the time. What he has What has he got to do with anything? Does he pay tuition? Mama, you about to get your fresh little jaw slapped. Ruth, that's just what she needs, all right. Benita, why? Why can't I say that? What I want around here like everybody else does. Mama, it don't sound nice for a young girl to say things like that. You wasn't brought up that way. Me and your father went to trouble to get you and brother to church every Sunday. Benita, Mama, you don't understand. It's all a matter of ideas, and God is just one idea I don't accept. It's not important. I am not going out and be immoral and commit crimes because I don't believe in God. I don't even think about it. It's just that I get tired of him getting credit for all the things that human race achieves through its own stubborn effort. There simply is no blasted God. There is only man, and it is he who makes miracles. Mama absorbs this speech and studies her daughter and rises slowly to cross to Benita and slaps her powerfully across the face. After there is only silence, and the daughter drops her eyes from her mother's face, and Mama is very tall before her. Mama, now you say after me, in my mother's house there is still God. There is a long pause, and Benita stares at the floor wordlessly. Mama repeats the phrase with precision and cool motion. In my mother's house there is still God. Benita, in my mother's house there is still God. A long pause. Mama, walking away from Benita, too disturbed for triumph posture, stopping and turning back to her daughter. There are some ideas we ain't going to have in this house, not long as I am at the head of this family. Benita, yes, ma'am. Mama walks out of the room. Ruth, almost gently, with profound understanding. You think you a woman, Benny? You still a little girl. What you did was childish, so you got treated like a child. Benita, I see, quietly. I also see that everybody thinks it's all right for Mama to be a Trian, but all the Triani in the world will never put a God in the heavens. She picks up her books and goes out. Pause. Ruth goes to Mama's door. She said she was sorry, Mama. Coming out, going to her plant. They frightens me, Ruth, my children. Ruth, you got good children, Lena. They just a little off sometimes, but they good. Mama, no, there's something come down between me and them, and that don't let us understand each other, and I don't know what it is. One done almost lost his mind thinking about money all the time, and the other done commenced to talk about things I can't seem to understand in no form or fashion. What is it that's changing, Ruth? Ruth, soothingly, older than her years. Now, you taking it all too seriously. You just got strong-willed children, and it takes a strong woman like you to keep 'em in hand. Mama, looking at her plants and sprinkling a little water on it. They spirited all right, my children. Got to admit they got spirit, Benny and Walter. Like this little old plant that ain't never had enough sunshine or nothing, and look at it. She has her back to Ruth, who has had to stop it ironing and lean against something and put her back of her hand to her forehead. Ruth, trying to keep Mama from noticing. You sure loves that little old thing, don't you? Mama. Well, I always wanted me a garden like I used to see sometimes at the back of the house down home. This plant is close as I ever got to having one. She looks out the window as she replaces the plant. Lord, ain't nothing as dreary as a view from this window on a dreary day, is there? Why ain't you singing this morning, Ruth? Sing that nobody's tired. That song always lifts me up. She turns at last to see that Ruth has slipped quietly to the floor in a state of semi-consciousness. Ruth, honey, what's the matter with you? Ruth. Curtain. Scene 2. It is the following morning, a Saturday morning, and house is cleaning in its progress of the youngers. Furniture has been shoved hither and yon, and Mama is giving the kitchen area walls a washing down. Benita, in dungarees, with a handkerchief tied around her face, is spraying insecticide into the cracks in the wall. As they work, the radio is on, and a Southside disc jockey program is inappropriately filling the house with a rather exotic saxophone blues. Travis, the sole idle one, is leaning on his arms, looking out of the window. Travis, Grandma, that stuff Benny is using smells awful. Can I go downstairs, please? Mama, did you get all the chores done already? I ain't seen you doing much. Travis, yes, finished early. Where did Mama go this morning? Mama, looking at Benita. She had to go on a little errand. The phone rings. Benita runs to answer it and reaches it before Walter, who has entered from the bedroom. Travis, where? Mama, to tend to her business. Benita. Hello, disappointed. Yes, he is. She tosses the phone to Walter, who barely catches it. It's Willie Harris again. Walter, as privately as possible when under Mama's gaze. Hello, Willie. Did you get the papers from the lawyer? No, not yet. I told you the mailman doesn't get here till 10:30. No, I'll come there. Yeah, right away. He hangs up and goes for his coat. Benita. Brother, where did Ruth go? Walter, as he exits. How should I know? Travis. Oh, come on, Grandma. Can I go outside? Mama. Oh, I guess so. You stay right in front of the house, though, and keep a good lookout for the postman. Travis. Yes'm. He darts into the bedroom for a stickball and bat, enters and sees Benita on her knees spraying under sofa with behind upraised. He edges closer to the target, takes aim, and lets her have it. She screams. Leave them poor little cockroaches alone. They ain't bothering you none. He runs as she swings the spray gun at him viciously and playfully. Grandma, Grandma. Mama. Look out there, girl, before you be spilling some of that stuff on that child. Travis. Safely behind the bastion of Mama. That's right. Look out now, he exits. Benita, drily. I can't imagine that it would hurt him. It has never hurt the roaches. Mama. Well, little boys' hides ain't as tough as Southside roaches. You better get over there behind the brewery. I seen one marching out of there like Napoleon yesterday. Benita. There's really only one way to get rid of them, Mama. Mama, how? Set fire to this building. Mama, where did Ruth go? Mama, looking at her with meaning. To the doctor, I think. Benita. The doctor? What's the matter? They exchange glasses. You don't think, Mama, with her sense of drama. Now, I ain't saying what I think, but I ain't never been wrong about a woman neither. The phone rings. Benita at the phone. Hello. Pause, and a moment of recognition. Well, when did you get back? And how is it? Of course I've missed you in my way. This morning? No, house cleaning and all that, and Mama hates it if people come over when the house is like this. You have? Well, that's different. What is it? Oh, what the... Come on over. All right, see you then. She hangs up. Mama, who has listened vigorously as is her habit, who is that you inviting over here with this house looking like this? You ain't got the pride you was born with. Benita. Asagi doesn't care how houses look. Mama, he's an intellectual. Mama, who? Asagai. Joseph Asagai. He's an African boy I met on campus. He's been studying in Canada all summer. What's his name? Asagai Joseph. Asagai. He's from Nigeria. Oh, that's a little country that was founded by the slaves way back. Benita. No, Mama, that's Liberia. Mama. I don't think I never met no African before. Benita. Well, do me a favor and don't ask him a whole lot of ignorant questions about Africans. I mean, do they wear clothes and all that? Mama. Well, now, I guess if you think we're so ignorant around here, maybe you shouldn't bring your friends here. Benita. It's just that people ask such crazy things. All anyone seems to know about when it comes to Africa is Tarzan. Mama, indignantly. Why should I know anything about Africa? Benita. Why do you give money at church for the missionary work? Mama. Well, that's to help save people. Benita. You mean save them from heathenism? Mama, innocently. Yes. Benita. I'm afraid they need more salvation from the British and the French. Ruth comes in forlornly and pulls off her coat with direction. They both turn to look at her. Ruth, desperately. Well, I guess from all the happy faces everybody knows. Benita, you pregnant? Mama, Lord have mercy. I sure hope it's a little old girl. Travis ought to have a sister. Benita and Ruth give her a hopeless look for this grandmotherly enthusiasm. Benita, how far along are you? Ruth, 2 months. Benita, did you mean to? I mean, did you plan it or was it an accident? Mama, what do you know about planning or not planning? Benita, oh, Mama. Ruth, wearily. She's 20-year-old, Lena. Benita, did you plan it, Ruth? Ruth, mind your own business. Benita, it is my business. Where is he going to live? On the roof? There's a silence following the remark as the three women react to the sense of it. Gee, I didn't mean that, Ruth, honest. Gee, I don't feel like that at all. I think it's wonderful. Ruth, dully, wonderful. Benita, yes, really. There is a sudden commotion from the street, and she goes to the window to look out. What on earth is going out there? These kids, there are, as she throws open the window, the shouts of children rising up on the street. She sticks her head out to see better and calls it, Travis, Travis, what are you doing down there? She sees, oh Lord, they're chasing a rat. Ruth covers her face with hands and turns away. Mama angrily, tell that youngin' to get himself up here at once. Travis, you come upstairs at once. Ruth, her face twisted, chasing a rat. Mama looking at Ruth, worried. Doctor says everything going to be all right? Ruth, far away. Yes, she says everything is going to be fine. Mama immediately suspicious. What doctor you went to? Ruth just looks at Mama meaningfully, and Mama opens her mouth to speak at Travis bursts in. Travis, excited and full of narrative, coming directly to his mother. Mama, you should see the rat. Big as a cat, honestly. He shows an exaggerated size with his hands. Golly, the rat was really cutting. The bubber caught him with his heel, and the janitor, Mr. Barnett, got him with a stick, and then they got him in a corner, and bam, bam, bam. And he was still jumping around and bleeding like everything, too. There's a rat blood all over the street. Ruth reaches out suddenly and grabs her son without even looking at him and clamps his hand over his mouth and holds him to her. Mama crosses to them rapidly and takes the boy from her. Mama, you hush up now. Talking all that terrible stuff. Travis is starting at his mother with a stunned expression. Benitha comes quickly and takes him away from his grandmother and ushers him to the door. Benitha, you go back outside and play, but not with any rats. She pushes him gently out the door with the boy straining to see what was wrong with his mother. Mama, worriedly hovering over Ruth. Ruth, honey, what's the matter with you? You sick? Ruth has her fists clenched on her thighs and is fighting hard to suppress the scream that seems to be rising in her. Mama, working her fingers in Ruth's shoulders to relax her. She be all right. Women get right depressed sometimes when they get her way. Speaking softly, expertly, rapidly. Now you just relax. That's right. Just lean back. Don't you think nothing about nothing at all. Nothing at all. Ruth, I'm all right. The glassy-eyed looks melts, and then she collapses into a heavy sobbing. The bell rings. Benitha, oh my God, that must be a Sagai. Mama, to Ruth, come on now, honey. You need to lie down and rest a while. Then have some nice hot food. They exit. Ruth's weight on her mother-in-law, Benitha, herself profoundly disturbed, opens the door to admit a rather dramatic-looking young man with a large package. Asagai, hello. Benitha holding the door open and regarding him with pleasure. Hello. Long pause. Well, come in, and please excuse everything. My mother was very upset about me letting anyone come here with a place like this. Asagai coming into the room. You look disturbed too. Is something wrong? Benitha still at the door absently. Yes, we're all got acute ghettoist. She smiles and comes towards him, finding a cigarette and sitting. So sit down. No, wait. She whips the spray gun off the sofa where she had left it and puts it in the cushion's back. At last perches on the arms of the sofa, he sits. So how was Canada? Asagai, a sophisticated Canadian. Benitha looking at him. Asagai, I'm very glad you are back. Asagai, looking back at her in turn. Are you really? Benitha, yes, very. Asagai, why? You were quite glad when I went away. What happened? Benitha, you went away. Asagai, Benitha, before you wanted to be serious before there was time. Before you wanted to be so serious before there was time. Asagai, how much time must there be before one knows what one feels? Benitha, stalling this particular conversation, her hands pressed together in a deliberately childish gesture. What did you bring me? Asagai, handing her the package. Open it and see. Benitha, eagerly opening the package and drawing out some records of the colorful robes of a Nigerian woman. Oh, Asagai, you got them for me. How beautiful. And the records, too. She lifts out the robes and runs to the mirror with them and holds the drapery up in front of herself. Asagai, coming to her at the mirror. I shall have to teach you how to drape it properly. He flings the material about her for the moment and stands back to look at her. Oh pai gai dai, oh gabada mu shai. A Euro exclamation for admiration. You wear it well, very well. Mutilated hair and all. Benitha, turning suddenly. My hair? What's wrong with my hair? Asagai, shruggingly. Were you born with it like that? Benita, reaching up to touch it. No, of course not. She looks back at the mirror, disturbed. Asagai, smiling. How then? Benita, you know perfectly well how. As crinkly as yours, that's how. Asagai, and it is ugly to you that way? Benita, quickly. Oh no, not ugly. More slowly, apologetically. But it's so hard to manage when it's, well, raw. Asagai, and so to accommodate that, you mutilate it every week? Benita, it's not mutilation. Asagai, laughing aloud at her seriousness. Oh, please, I am only teasing you because you are so very serious about these things. He stands back from her and folds his arms across his chest as he watches her pulling at her hair and frowning in the mirror. Do you remember the first time we met at school? He laughs. You came up to me and said, and I thought you were the most serious little thing I've ever seen, you said. He imitates her. Mr. Sagai, I want very much to talk with you about Africa. You see, Mr. Sagai, I am looking for my identity. He laughs. Benita, turning to him, not laughing. Yes. Her face is quizzical, profoundly disturbed. Asagai, still teasing and reaching out and taking her face in his hands and turning her profile to him. Well, is it true that there is not so much a profile of a holy queen, wood queen, as perhaps a queen of the Nile? A mock dismissal of the importance of the question. But what does it matter? Assimilationism is so popular in your country. Benita, wheeling passionately, sharply. I am not an assimilationist. Asagai. The protest hangs in the room for a moment, and Asagai studies her, his laughter fading. Such a serious one. There is a pause. So you like the robes? You must take excellent care of them. They are from my sister's personal wardrobe. Benita with incredulity. You sent all the way from home? For me? Asagai, with charm. For you, I would do much more. Well, that is what I came for. I must go. Benita, will you call me Monday? Asagai, yes. We have a great deal to talk about. I mean about identity and time and all that. Benita, time? Asagai, yes, about how much time one needs to know what one feels. Benita, you see, you never understand that there is more than one kind of feeling which can exist between a man and a woman, or at least there should be. Asagai, shaking his head negatively but gently. No, between a man and a woman there need to be only one kind of feeling. I have that for you, now even, right this moment. Benita, I know, and by itself it won't do. I can find that anywhere. Asagai, for a woman it should be enough. Benita, I know, because that's what it says in all that novels that men write, but it isn't. Go ahead and laugh, but I'm not interested in being someone's little episode in America, or, with feminine vengeance, one of them. Asagai has burst into laughter again. That's funny as... Asagai, it's just that every American girl I've known has said that to me. White, black, in this, you are all the same, and the same speech too. Benita, angrily. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Asagai, it's how you can be sure that the world's most liberated women are not liberated at all. You all talk about it too much. Mama enters and is immediately all social charm because of the presence of a guest. Benita, oh Mama, this is Mr. Asagai. Mama, how do you do? Asagai, total politeness to an elder. How do you do, Mrs. Younger? Please forgive me for coming at such an outrageous hour on a Saturday. Mama, well, you are quite welcome. I just hope you understand that our house don't always look like this. Chatterish. You must come again. I would love to hear about it. Not sure of the name, your country. I think it's so sad the way our American Negroes don't know anything about Africa except Tarzan and all that. And all that money they pour into those churches when they out to be helping you people over there drive out them French and Englishmen, done taking away your land. The mother flashes a slightly superior look at her daughter upon completion of the recitation. Asagai, taken back by the sudden and acutely unrelated expression of sympathy. Yes, yes. Mama, smiling at him, and suddenly and relaxing, looking him over. How many miles is it from here to where you come from? Asagai, many thousand. Mama, looking at him as she would Walter, I bet you don't half look at yourself being away from your mama either. I expect you better come round here from time to time to get yourself some decent home-cooked meals. Asagai moved. Thank you very much. They are all very quiet. Then, well, I must go. I will call you Monday, and Alayo. Mama, what's that he call you? Asagai. Oh, Alayo. I hope you don't mind. It is what you would call a nickname, I think. It is a Yoruba word. I am a Yoruba. Mama, looking at Benita. I thought he was from... Uncertain. Asagai, understandingly. Nigeria is my country. Yoruba is my tribal origin. Benita. You didn't tell us what alayo means. For all I know, you might be calling me little idiot or something. Asagai. Well, let me see. I don't know how just to explain it. The sense of a thing is that can be so different when it changes languages. Benita. You're evading. Asagai. No, really, it is difficult. Thinking. It means one from who, bread, food. It is not enough. He looks at her. Is that all right? Benita, understandingly soft. Thank you. Mama, looking from one to the other and not understanding any of it. Well, that's nice. You must come see us again, Mr. Asagai. Mama, yes, do come again. Asagai, goodbye. He exits. Mama after him. Lord, that's a pretty thing just went out there. It's insignificantly to her daughter. Yes, I guess. I see why we done commenced to get so interested in Africa around here. Missionaries, my Aunt Jenny. She exits. Benita. Oh, Mama. She picks up the Nigerian dress and holds it to her in front of the mirror again. She sets the headdress on haphazardly and then notices her hair again and clutches at it and then replaces the headdress and frowns at herself. Then she starts to wriggle in front of the mirror as she thinks a Nigerian woman might. Travis enters and stands regarding her. Travis. What's the matter, girl? You cracking up? Benita. Shut up. She pulls the headdress off and looks at herself in the mirror and clutches at her hair again and squinches her eyes as if trying to imagine something. Then suddenly she gets her raincoat and handkerchief and hurriedly prepares for going out. Mama coming back into the room. She's resting now. Travis, baby, run next door and ask Miss Johnson to please let me have a little kitchen cleanser. This yerkin is as empty as Jacob's kettle. Travis, I just came in. Mama, do as you're told. He exits and she looks at her daughter. Where are you going? Benita, halting at the door. To become a queen of the Nile. She exits in a breathless blaze of glory. Ruth appears in the bedroom doorway. Mama, who told you to get up? Ruth, ain't nothing wrong with me to be lying in no bed for. Where did Benny go? Mama, drumming her fingers. Far as I could make out, to Egypt. Ruth just looks at her. What time is it getting to? Ruth, 10:20. And the mailman going to ring that bell this morning just like he done every morning for the last up to years. Travis comes in with a cleanser can. Travis, she say to tell you she don't have much. Mama angrily. Lord, some people I could name sure is tight-fisted. Directing her grandson. Mark 2 cans of cleanser down on the list there. If she that hard up for a kitchen cleanser, I sure don't want to forget to get her none. Ruth Lena. Maybe the woman is just short on cleanser. Mama not listening. Much baking powder as she done borrowed from me all these years. She could have gone into the baking business. The bell sounds suddenly and sharply, and all there are stunned, serious, and silent, mild speeches. In spite of all the other conversations and distractions on the morning, this is what they have been waiting for. Even Travis, who looks helplessly from his mother to his grandmother. Ruth is the first to come into life again. Ruth to Travis. Get down them steps, boy. Travis snaps to life and flies out to get the mail. Mama, her eyes wide, her hand onto her breast. You mean it done really come? Ruth, excited. Oh, Miss Lena. Mama, collecting herself. Well, I don't know what we are all so excited about around here. We known it was coming for months. Ruth, that's a whole lot different from having it come and being able to hold it in your hands. A piece of paper worth $10,000. Travis bursts back into the room. He holds the envelope high above his head like a little dancer. His face is radiant and he is breathless. He moves to the grandmother with sudden, slow ceremony and puts the envelope into her hands. She accepts it and then merely holds it and looks at it. Come on, open it. Lord have mercy, I wish Walter Lee was here. Travis, open it, Grandma. Mama, staring at it. Now you all be quiet, it's just a check. Ruth, open it. Mama, still staring at it. Now don't act silly. We ain't never been no people to act silly about no money. Ruth, swiftly. We ain't never had none before. Open it. Mama finally makes a good, strong tear and pulls on the thin blue slice of paper and inspects it closely. The boy and his mother study it rapidly over the mama's shoulder. Mama, Travis, she is counting off with doubt. Is that the right number of zeros? Travis, yes, $10,000. Golly, grandmama, you rich. Mama. She holds the check away from her, still looking at it. Slowly her face sobers into a mask of unhappiness. $10,000. She hands it to Ruth. Put it away somewhere, Ruth. She does not look at Ruth. Her eyes seem to be seeing something somewhere very far off. $10,000 they gave you. $10,000. Travis to his mother sincerely. What's the matter with Grandma? Doesn't she want to be rich? Ruth distractedly. You go out and play now, baby. Travis exits. Mama starts whipping dishes absently, humming intently to herself. Ruth turns to her. What kind of aspiration? You've done and gotten yourself upset. Mama, not looking at her. I expect if it wasn't for you at all, I would just put the money away or give it to the church or something. Ruth. Now what kind of talk is that? Mr. Younger would just be plain mad if he could hear you talking foolishness like that. Mama, stopping and staring off. Yes, he sure would. Sighing. We got enough to do with that money, all right. She halts then and turns and looks at her daughter-in-law hard. Ruth avoids her eyes and Mama wipes her hands with finally and stares to speak firm to Ruth. Where did you go today, girl? Ruth, to the doctor. Mama impatiently. Now, Ruth, you know better than that. Old Dr. Jones is strange enough in his way, but there ain't nothing about him make somebody slip and call him she, like you done this morning. Well, Ruth. Well, that's what happened. My tongue slipped. Mama, you went to see that woman, didn't you? Ruth, defensively giving herself away. What woman you talking about? Mama angrily. That woman who... Walter enters his room. Walter, did it come? Mama quietly. Can't you give people a Christian greeting before you start asking about money? Walter to Ruth. Did it come? Ruth unfolds the check and lays it quietly before him, watching him intently with thoughts of her own. Walter sits down and grasps it close and counts off the zeros. $10,000. He turns suddenly, frantically to his mother and draws some paper out of his breast pocket. Mama, look. Old Willie here's put everything on paper. Mama. Son, I think you ought to talk to your wife. I'll go on now and leave you alone if you want. Walter. I can talk to her later, Mama. Look. Mama. Son. Walter. Will somebody please listen to me today? Mama quietly. I don't allow no yelling in this house, Walter Lee, and you know it. Walter stares at them in frustration and starts to speak several times. And there ain't going to be no investing in no liquor store. Walter. But Mama, you ain't even looked at it yet. Mama. I don't aim to have to speak on that again. A long pause. Walter. You ain't looked at it and you don't aim to have to speak on that again? You ain't even looked at it and you have decided, crumpling his papers. Well, you tell that to my boy tonight when you put him to sleep on the living room couch, turning to Mama and speaking directly to her. Yeah, and tell it to my wife, Mama, tomorrow when she has to go out here to look after someone else's kid, and tell it to me, Mama, every time we need a new pair of curtains and I have to watch you go out and work in somebody's kitchen. Yeah, you tell me then. Walter starts out. Ruth, where are you going? Walter, I'm going out. Ruth, where? Walter, just out of the house somewhere. Ruth, get in your coat. I'll come too. Walter, I don't want you to come. Ruth, I got something to talk to you about, Walter. Walter, that's too bad. Mama still quietly. Walter Lee. She awaits and he finally turns and looks at her. Sit down. Walter, I'm a grown man, Mama. Mama, ain't nobody said you wasn't grown, but you still in my house in my presence, and as long as you are here, you'll talk to your wife civil. Now sit down. Ruth suddenly. I'll let him go on out and drink himself to death. He makes me sick to my stomach. She flings her coat against him and exits to the bedroom. Walter violently flings the coat around her. And you turn mine too, baby. The door slams behind her. That was my biggest mistake. Mama, sit still quietly. Walter, what is the matter with you? Walter, matter with me? Ain't nothing the matter with me. Mama, yes, there is. Something eating you up like a crazy man. Something more than not giving you this money. The past few years I've been watching it happen to you. You get all nervous acting and kind of wild in the eyes. Walter jumps up impatiently at her words. I said sit there now. I am talking to you. Walter. Mama, I don't need a nagging at me today. Mama, seem like you get into a place where you always tied up in some kind of knot about something. But if anybody asks you about it, you just yell at them and bust out of the house and go to and drink somewhere. Walter Lee, people can't live like that. Ruth is a good, patient girl in her way, but you getting to be too much. Boy, don't make the mistake of driving that girl away from you. Walter, why? What'd she do for me? Mama, she loves you. Walter, Mama, I'm going out. I want to go off somewhere and be by myself for a while. Mama, I'm sorry about your liquor store, son. It just wasn't the thing for us to do. That's what I want to tell you about. Mama, I got to go out, Mama. He rises. Mama, it's dangerous, son. Walter, what's dangerous? Mama, when a man goes outside his home to look for peace. Walter, beseechingly, then why can't there never be no peace in this house then? Mama, you done found it in some other house? Walter, no, there ain't no woman. Why do women always think there's a woman somewhere when a man gets restless? Picks up the check. Do you know what this money means to us? Do you know what this money can do for us? Puts it back. Mama, I want so many things. Mama, yes, son. Walter, I want so many things that they are driving me kind of crazy, Mama. Look at me. Mama, I'm looking at you. You're a good-looking boy. You got a job, a nice wife, a fine boy, and... Walter, a job. Looks at her. Mama, a job. I open and close the car doors all day long. I drive a man around in his limousine, and I say, yes, sir. No, sir. Very good, sir. Shall I take the drive, sir? Mama, that ain't no kind of job, and ain't nothing at all. Very quietly. Mama, I don't know if I can make you understand. Mama, understand what, baby? Walter, quietly. Sometimes it's like I can see the future stretch out in front of me, just plain as day. The future, Mama, hanging over there at the edge of my days, just waiting for me. A big, looming blank space full of nothing, just waiting for me. But it don't have to be. Pause, kneeling beside her chair. Mama, sometimes when I'm downtown, I pass them cold, quietly looking restaurants where them white boys are sitting and back and talking about things. Sitting there, turning in deals worth millions of dollars. Sometimes I see guys don't look much older than me. Mama, son, how come you talk so much about money? Walter, with intense passion. Because it is life, Mama. Mama, quietly. Oh, very quietly. So now it's life. Money is life. Once upon a time, freedom used to be life. Now it's money. I guess the world really do change. Walter, no, it was always money, Mama. We just didn't know about it. Mama, no, something has changed. She looked at him. You something new, boy. In my time, we was worried about not being lynched and getting to the north if we could, and how to stay alive and still have a pinch of dignity too. Now here come you and Benitha talking about things we ain't never even thought about, hardly me and your daddy. You ain't satisfied or proud of nothing we done. I mean that you had a home, that we kept you out of trouble till you was grown, that you don't have to ride to work on the back of nobody's streetcar, you my children, but how many different we done become. Walter, a long beat. He pats her hand and gets up. You just don't understand, Mama. You just don't understand. Mama, son, do you know your wife is expecting another baby? Walter stands stunned and absorbs what his mother has said. That's what she wanted to talk to you about. Walter sinks down into a chair. This ain't for me to be telling, but you ought to know. She waits. I think Ruth is thinking about getting rid of that child. Walter, slowly, understandingly. No, Ruth wouldn't do that. Mama, when the world gets ugly enough, a woman will do anything for her family. The part that's already living. Walter, you don't know Ruth, Mama, if you think she would do that. Ruth opens the bedroom door and stands there a little limp. Ruth, beaten. Yes, I would too, Walter. Pause. I gave her a $5 down payment. There is a total silence as the man stares at his wife and the mother stares at her son. Mama presently, tighteningly. Well, son, I'm waiting to hear you say something. She waits. I'm waiting to hear you be your father's son, be the man he was. Pause. The silence shouts. Your wife says she's going to destroy your child, and I'm waiting to hear you talk like him and say we a people who give children life, not who destroys them. She rises. I'm waiting to see you stand up and look like your daddy and say we done give up one baby to poverty, that we ain't going to give up nearly another one. I'm waiting. Walter, Ruth. He can say nothing. Mama, if you a son of mine, tell her. Walter picks up his keys in his coat and walks out. She continues bitterly. You are a disgrace to your father's memory. Somebody get me my hat. Curtain.